Okay, so we're going to look at multiplication without a calculator, but we're going to do it in the context of using formulae for area, and obviously we're going to be doing multiplying, and I thought that we would add a bit of rounding into the mix as well. So, say I've got a circle here. That is definitely a circle. And I'm told that the radius equals 3.7 centimeters. And the question says use pi equals 3.14, find the area. Okay, so you need to know that the formula for a circle is A equals pi r squared. There is a good song to remind you of that, but there is A equals pi r squared. You need to remember what that means. That means pi times r times r. You need to put the numbers in. So we've been told to use 3.14 for pi times, and the radius is 3.7, and then we're going to times by 3.7 again. Okay, with a calculator that will be very straightforward. Without a calculator it will take a bit longer. I think I'll do the squaring first. So 3.7 times 3.7. So what you do is you work through each of these digits in turn. So I'm going to start with this one. So I'm going to multiply 7 times the 7, that gives me 49, so I write down the 9, I carry the 4, you can write it as a small 4 if you want, I carry it on my fingers, and then 7 times 3 is 21, and I'm adding my carry on to that, so 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So I just write that down, there are no decimal points in there at the moment, we've just got 259. Because 7 times 37 is 259. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, so that's down there, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything by this 3 here. But that 3 is 10 times bigger than a 7, so I need to put a placekeeper in there to make sure that I take account of the fact it's 10 times greater. And once I've done that, I'm just multiplying in exactly the same way. So I'm doing 3 times 7 is 21, so there's the 1, I'm carrying 2, I'm doing it on my fingers. 3 times 3 is 9, and I've got to add on that 2, I'm carrying 10, 11. So I write it down there. Okay, now that I've done that, I have to add those together. 9 plus nothing is 9, 5 plus 1 is 6, 2 plus 1 is 3, and 1 plus nothing is 1. Okay, so we've got something that's round about 4 times by something that's round about 4. You would expect the answer to be somewhere in the region of 16, and instead I currently have 1369. But don't worry. The simplest way to get the decimal point in the right place is to look at the number of numbers after the decimal point in the question. So I've got 1 here and 1 here. So I have got 2 digits after the decimal point in the question. So I'm going to have 2 digits after the decimal point in the answer. The other way to look at it is to say that this 7 is in the 10th column, this 7 is in the 10th column, so that's going to be shifting everything down by 2 places. Whatever. Your answer is 13.69, which is a bit less than 16, which is what I would expect. So, that's not the end, because this is just the r times r. So then, I need to multiply by the pi. I'm going to take the answer to this, and I'm going to multiply it by pi by 3.14. Now when you're adding, it is really important that you line up the decimal points. When you're multiplying, it's not. Now this is going to be tedious. I'm going to end up having one row for each of these digits. And then I'm going to have to add them up. And then I'm going to have to sort the decimal points. Tedious, but not difficult. So 4 times 9 is 36, so write down the 6, carry the 3. 4 6s are 24, 5, 6, 7. Carry the 2. 4 3s are 12, 13, 14. Carry the 1. 4 1s are 4. Plus my 1 gives me 5. There we go. Now, that was the 4. Now I'm going to put in a placekeeper, and I'm going to multiply everything by the 1. Well, multiplying things by 1 is quite easy. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. There we go. That's gone there. And finally, I'm going to have to multiply everything by the 3. But that is now 2 places up from where I started, so I need 2 placekeepers there. A 0 is just a placekeeper in this case. So 3 9s are 27, so I write down a 7 and I carry 2. 3 6s are 18, 19, 20. Carry 2. 3 3s are 9, 10, 11. Carry 1. 3 1s are 3, plus my carry is 4. So there we go. 6 plus lots of nothings is still 6. 7 and 9 is 16. I'm going to carry 1. 4 and 6 is 10, plus 7 is 17, 18, carrying 1. 5 and 3 is 8, plus my carry is 9. 1 and 1 is 2, and there's my 4. Okay, that's a very big number, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers after the decimal point in the question, so I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers after the decimal point in the answer. So my final answer to this question would be 42.9866. And since the radius was in centimetres, the area is going to be in centimetres squared, because I multiplied two things in centimetres together. Now, how about if I said find the area 2, 3 sig figs? So, the first number you hit coming in from the left-hand side, the first non-zero number, is your first significant figure. So it's your first, and then they just number off in sequence after that. That's your second. That's your third significant figure. Okay. And then I have to look at this. That's an 8, so that's 5 or over, so it rounds up. So that 8 rounding up is going to increase that 9 by 1. Now if you increase a 9 by 1 it becomes 10, which means it's going to spill over into the next column. So in fact, the end result of all that is I've got 43, because my 9 turned into a 10, spilled into the next column, 0.0. I still need that 0 in there to show that that's where I rounded to, because I've rounded to 1, 2, 3 significant figures. Centimetres squared. Okay, so here is a rectangle. So the area formula for rectangle is area equals length times breadth. But you have to be careful here, because we've got this side in meters, this side in centimetres. And we have to find the answer, the area in meters squared to one decimal place. So that means we want this in meters. So you know the number associated with this is 100, because there's 100 centimetres in a metre. You know that you're expecting to get a heck of a lot fewer metres in there than you are centimetres. So we're going to divide by 100. That gives you 0.35 metres. So now our sum is length times breadth. So we better do that. 18.2 times 0.35. Okay, so we're expecting to get 2 rows here, and then we're going to add them together. So 5 2s are 10, put in the 0, carry the 1. 5 8s are 40, plus our carry. 5 1s are 5, 6 7 8 9. Now we need a placekeeper, because we're going to multiply by the 3. 3 2s are 6, 3 8s are 24, 3 1s are 3, 4, 5. And we can add those together, and that's going to give us 0, 7, that's a 3, and I'm carrying 1, 6. 1, 2, 3, numbers after the decimal point in the question. 1, 2, 3, numbers after the decimal point in the answer. Equals 6.370. But I've been asked to give my answer to one decimal place. So that's a decimal point. The one decimal place is the first number after the decimal point, so I'm looking at the 7. That rounds up, so that's going to give me 6.4 meters squared to one decimal place.